hidden in plain sight. The story of the Underground Railroad. Even if you don't read a lot, it's just crazy fascinating. Good, and there's a lot more into it than what I'm going to go today. I'm just only following one path of the Underground Railroad, but there's just a lot of really interesting stuff in this. And what I really liked about it, the first reenactment I ever took my children to, I have a picture of them hanging out of these exact windows. And a lot of us recognize that as a Bible story about Jacob. God showed him a ladder in a dream up into the clouds to heaven and or freedom from his woes and things that were happening to him. He was being attacked by his brother and, you know, all the other awful things that happened to Jacob. But Jacob's ladder was in a dream, and it gave him hope. And this is Jacob's ladder, and has become the symbol of the Underground Railroad because it's a symbol of hope. If you saw this hanging in a window, especially a full quilt of it, you knew that they were gathering together. They were getting ready to take another group on the Underground Railroad. And that was a sign that you better start getting ready and go on the Underground Railroad if you were going to take this train. So we're going to put that on here and start building our quilt. So this wagon wheel is so important. It's telling you where you're going. It's telling you that this path is going to take you to Dresden, Ohio, and then there's going to be a way across the Great Lakes for Dresden, Canada. So this one was really, really important in the symbols on the quilt. And if you saw a whole quilt outside, especially a church, but hanging outside for airing outside a house or quilt or what, you knew that this was a place of protection for you. Okay, so as you're on your journey, you see this quilt, Jesus the Carpenter, that was a safe place, all right, whether it was a church or whether it was somebody's home. So we're going to add that one to our quilt. Trail through the woods. Now on the back of my Bear's Trail, it's got a crossroads, and I haven't finished this yet, but sometimes if you put different symbols in it, that's the direction you're going to take on that Bear's Trail through the woods. So they put hidden symbols on the back of it too. But this is one that's just telling you to take the Bear's Trail through the woods. So it might be somebody's home, it might be a church, it might be a field where we're allowed to pick the food without getting shot. But this is the symbol of telling us we're on the road, we're on the trail, and we can eat at this place safely. So we're filling our baskets with food for the journey when we see that symbol. Pattern we've seen, it's called the crossroads. So here you are at the crossroads. Which way do you go? Well, another hidden symbol on the back. You're going that way. All right. And the crossroads quilt. Sometimes if you find an original one, you know it's part of a Underground Railroad quilt because it's only got part of it quilted. And that's telling you which direction you're going to go at the crossroads. Thank you so much. And this is another pattern. I who don't quilt, I knew this one. Log cabin, very common quilt, but used in an Underground Railroad quilt. And it also, the patterns of the darks and the lights in the Underground Railroad quilt kind of told you where it was. Sometimes it told you if it was in the woods or out in the open some more, or if it was even just a cave. But the log cabin quilt told you in different types of meanings that it was a safe place to stay. So that is your next step on your journey. You might rest up there for a few days. And sort of might have been somebody who was just a little kind of fun and storyteller and all that stuff. Real key person on the Underground Railroad. Really helped you get the next piece, helped you find food while you might be there at your log cabin or your safe spot, but he gave you a lot of good advice on the next legs of your journey. So the shoe fly, this was his symbol that this was where he was and here to go find him at the shoe fly. So beautiful clothes and get rid of those rags, and this is where you're going to get them. The bow tie thing, and shoe fly was going to help you find that. And you're going to put on your best clothes so you didn't look like you were escaping refugees. You looked like you belonged where you were because you'd Mason-Dixon line and you were just where you were supposed to be, right? This helped you transform into those people that you were supposed to be there. Because, you know, if you were escaping in rags, you're pretty obvious, weren't you? But I did know this pattern, and I actually did have a quilt, but after Mom died, I gave it to my sister. I've spent a year regretting that, but I have to make myself one now. But anyway, this one tells something really in plain sight about which direction you need to go in. Look at these geese real carefully, and tell me which one's different.
Bottom left.
This bottom left, this one?
Yeah.
Yep. These 3 geese are in different order than the rest of the geese. So that's the direction you're going. That's pointing you which way you're going. Isn't that neat? So this is a drunkard's path, and it's telling you to walk crookedy through the woods. We're almost done. Our quilt is almost ready. We are going to take the sailboat across the Great Lake. So there might be a lot of boats waiting at that lake to take people out, but the one that had this quilt, we knew this was the safe one. And the red actually has some symbolism too on the safety aspect of it and throwing in the different color. It might have been on all of the sails on the quilt, or it might have just been one of the sails on the quilt, but the red has some meaning to it as well. So we're going to take the Great Lakes, across the Great Lakes on a sailboat, and we're still heading north. Who's got my North Star? Right, thank you so much. To the North Star, which also has the red in it, to the North Star over Canada. And that tells the whole story. We've gotten safely to Canada. And more. Now there are probably 50, 60 more types of panels we could put on this to tell different parts of the story, especially in a sampler quilt, but this one tells the story of just one journey that lady in South Carolina told in 1984. And it tells one journey, and what I've chosen to do for my final panel that, like most of my other projects in life, is not done yet, but I'm telling the story that I just told you on my final panel. Okay? So there's all the words and the meanings, and I'm going to do little bitty embroideries of my quilt to tell the final story. And that is the story of the hidden meanings in the Underground Railroad quilt, hidden in plain view. Thank you.